Are you from
All right.
the committee?
From the Stratford Regional Planning Commission.
But for this?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're on. Probably need appoint somebody to serve as chair for this.
I nominate Eric to do that. Anyone second that nomination?
I will, because I wasn't here last month, so it wasn't need a positive.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, this she is.
That's really good. Perfect.
So we don't need a second.
It was so
Rescind my second.
close.
So
We could start?
We're just,
Yeah,
just
we're almost
to appoint
there.
me to run the meeting.
Yeah.
Almost there. Excuse me, could I trouble you for that spare pen that's next to your water bottle?
How about this one?
Yes, please. I am ill prepared as usual.
Wrong. Okay, we can start.
Perfect timing, yes.
Great. Yeah. All right, good evening. Welcome everyone to the Tuesday, August 12th Planning Board Workshop. First order of business would be the review and approval of the minutes of the July 8th meeting. Do I have a motion? Hey, Dave, thanks for joining us. Everyone knows Dave, right?
I'm making
Sorry.
a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion made, seconded. Is anyone taking minutes, or are they gonna take them off the
Take them off the table.
tape? Okay.
See, I'm not the only one.
Bruce is signing too. Does this work? No, we're good. Okay.
I have a bunch of pens here.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion, any changes? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, and I'm remiss, not welcoming Dave to our meeting. Does everyone know our code enforcement officer, Mr. Evans?
Hi, I'm Dave.
Okay. And so Dave is typically sitting on the zoning board meetings.
Correct.
Right, and filling in for Bart, so thank you. Okay. Tonight, we are looking to review the transportation chapter. And
Ready whenever?
yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Colin Lentz. I work at the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. My colleague Mark and I worked on the transportation chapter before you. I haven't met any of you, I don't think, really. I worked with Mark, and the Public Transportation Committee was sort of our subcommittee for this chapter, but this is part of the larger master plan update. I'm not sure if anyone's rolling through the slides there, but I have it here on my screen.
So if you want, you can just scroll down.
Do you want me to do it on the TV by
It's in
itself?
PDF.
All right. Do that.
And if you could take a microphone with you,
Yes.
which hopefully is working. No, that's
No,
the,
that's
that's
the
the
camera.
circle camera, actually.
Oh.
So you're not. Just grab the microphone from the podium would be great. So people at home can
That works for me.
follow this. Thank you.
Is there supposed to be a hand?
Couple of
There should be handheld over there.
PDF. There we go. All right. So this is an optional chapter under state law, but usually an important one for any community with a road. As I said, this is part of the whole master plan process, so this is one chapter in the big full-on update that you all are nearing the end of. And so we provided some data of the current goings-on in Newmarket and the Seacoast, in the transportation realm. Commuting patterns. We got a lot of good feedback during the outreach process from folks, so I'll talk all about that. Quite a robust engagement process, including charrettes and community events and a survey, multiple surveys actually. So we had 3 main questions and 3 supplemental ones for the transportation chapter. We had a really good range of ages. You can see the big bar and the 35 to 44. and we got a lot of good quotes, specific call-outs from folks. Parking was noted as a top challenge for especially starting businesses, but the business community in general. Many people prioritized pedestrian safety and parking when it just comes to pedestrian or top transportation improvements or investments. When asked about bicycle and pedestrian network improvements, people prioritized connecting the Rockingham Rail Trail head to downtown, making that easier to get to by foot or bike, and then an off-road connection to Durham via trails. We asked questions about transit, since that's sort of a hot topic with UNH discontinuing their route, and and Coast has the Route 7 on demand, but you don't have a fixed route connection like there used to be. Most folks, a lot of folks said they would maybe use it if fixed route came back. That was the top. So people aren't exactly sure, but a lot of folks said if it came back, they would be using that for leisure or using the bus to connect to other, like C&J or Amtrak up in Dover. So using fixed route bus to get to other modes to reach farther destinations. Yeah.
On this survey, how many people does that represent, the chart?
Good question. I used to be immersed in this, and all the numbers in my head have gone away. I don't remember the total number for this individual survey, but I know we touched a lot of people. We heard back from them a lot, especially when it comes to surveys in general. You know, you struggle with that response rate, but we didn't struggle with Newmarket. So.
Can you bring
Yeah.
that question back up when we actually review the chapter itself?
Oh, sure.
You know, because that should be an appendix.
Yeah. So I participated in one of the workshops up here at the school nearly a year ago now, and we had some it was more interactive. This is a picture of what's called street mix, where you can kind of arrange bike lanes, travel lanes, sidewalks, all the widths, and street furniture like street lights, and got direct feedback on things like that. And just kind of talking to people. I personally tend to not over-program things like this and just ask people questions and hear what they have to say. So as I said, we were working directly with the Public Transportation Advisory Committee. Saka Dornblut is the chair, and then Lindsay and Bart were always at those. This is a screenshot from the old chapter with commuting origins and destinations. We updated those data. One of the exercises we did with the committee, this is a picture of just identifying bicycle and pedestrian connections, existing and potential future ones. So the informal trails behind the schools here that are well traveled, to existing sidewalks or desired connections. So that was just kind of a fun, interesting tabletop exercise. Everyone likes gathering around a map and start drawing lines and making notes on it. Similar to other chapters, we had the main themes of vibrancy, connectivity, accessibility, affordability, and resilience. Your word salad there. So we spoke to each of those themes throughout the chapter. My main point in thinking about vibrancy was just human activity and interaction, and much of the chapter focused on the village core or the downtown, and maintaining the high level of activity you have down here, and encouraging kind of building on that. So maintaining that multimodal access to the village core, find more ways for people to get to parks and other sites outside of the downtown, the village core, and then replicate what that village core looks like as it expands down south 108, up 108, and out 102 village core. or connectivity, local trails, and expanding options for public transit. Just the traditional fixed route, but the Coast on-demand Route 7, as well as the wide range of other on-demand kind of door-to-door or curb-to-curb services that exist in Newmarket. The wonky term is community transportation, so that's anything from an Uber to the community action partnership bus to Ready Rides as an example of a volunteer driver program where driving people to medical appointments in their personal vehicles. So there are a bunch of models for public transit that can help Newmarket residents. Accessibility, for me, some of these terms, there's so much overlap between them, but we talk about the idea of complete streets. If you haven't heard that term, it's just thinking about all the uses of a road, current and desired. Thinking about the downtown in particular, I think that's a good example of a complete street where, for me, the basic one is slowing down safety. A complete street can't be complete without safety for multiple users. And the visual cue is physically or visually to encourage drivers to slow down. If you make it wide and straight, people are going to go fast, sometimes whether they want to or not. It's just an instinct. Well, it's wide and flat. I can see lots of space, so the foot kind of pushes the pedal down a little farther. But if you make it clear as you're coming north on 108, as you come around that bend past the funeral home, okay, we're approaching the downtown. We need to design that road to encourage people to slow down. Affordability, kind of an interesting term when it comes to public transportation, but making it easier for people to take more affordable options, especially if they can't drive for whatever reason, or are just looking to drive less. Are there public transit options locally and long distance? You know, one of the really long-term projects is a passenger rail stop for the Downeaster. I think that'd be amazing for Newmarket. The town has a spot where it could go. That there was a rail stop there a long time ago. That requires a lot of things happening outside Newmarket, and so it's going to be collaborating with Dover. CSX now owns the rails. They're actually interested in investing in the infrastructure, and it's going to require some investments outside of Newmarket, kind of encouraged by. So with the graph here is just kind of starting in 2018 up to when we last got data from Coast and UNH, the bus ridership. So you can see where it cut off. The Coast demand response. Route 7 is the on-demand system. The demand response keeps going up, so that's all of their ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act rides that they provide. And the non-fixed route services. The demand for that in the region just keeps going up. And it's really expensive for Coast to continue operating that service.
That's not specific to Newmarket.
That is not specific to Newmarket because it is, if a federally funded transit operator provides a fixed route, folks that live within 3/4 of a mile of that route they have a guaranteed door-to-door service if they can't reach a bus stop on their own by foot. My
question was that particular chart's not just for Newmarket.
That was just for Newmarket because it was
okay.
just the demand response and the Route 7 on demand,
Okay.
not including fixed route, not the whole Coast network. Good. Resilience, the easy and obvious one is infrastructure. Is the bridge going to keep standing after the next big storm? Where are the roads that are low-lying that are going to blow out. I was thinking of infrastructure as a liability and an asset. Liability, we have aging bridges that are really expensive to repair and replace, but also using kind of smart engineering to increase the resilience of the town by, berming a road or using, what are the term, not green infrastructure, but sort of like a living shoreline as an example. Since you have your tidal area, using not just armoring, not just pouring a bunch of concrete in there that's going to get blown out eventually, kind of increasing the infrastructure as an asset. I was thinking of human resilience, not just roads and bridges, but does the transportation network and system and transportation options help people adapt to life's changes or a big storm or climate change? If someone loses the ability to drive, can their lives continue in a general sense, getting to work, getting to job, getting to medical appointments, if they can't drive anymore? That's pretty hard in a rural state. My colleague who works with me broke his leg and was using Coast's on-demand services for 4 months. That's the first time he'd had to do that, even though he kind of lives in that world. Employment, that's like his job, is to support those. So it was good to see it firsthand. And then, so thinking of Newmarket's place as a tidal community and the leadership role that kind of comes with that the town has played and continues to. I felt that was important to mention there. So, the implementation table, I believe you have, I'm not sure what Bart or Lindsay provided. I have the full table with me and can go through each of those implementation pieces, sort of strategies and actions. Some of these have been completed. Obviously, the slide is out of date, but we did complete the parking study, data collection, and generated a report. I'm actually coming here tomorrow night to talk about that with the Transportation Committee, and Bart and Lindsay have looked through that, so that will come with a series of recommendations that we're drafting now. One of the kind of the top ones for me is doing additional outreach with business owners and people coming to downtown. Why did you come here? Where did you choose to park? Kind of getting their thoughts on that. We did a region-wide sidewalk analysis, looking at how stressful sidewalk segments are to walk on based on their condition, the volume of traffic and the speed of traffic, how wide the sidewalks are, is there a grassy buffer, those sorts of things. The whole region, including Newmarket, to kind of look for hot spots where there are stressful sidewalks or non-existent sidewalks near something important like a bus stop. So can we get more people walking to the bus rather than driving, and make it easier for people who can't drive to access alternatives? I've been working with Bart and Lindsay on a safety improvement. If you aren't aware, there was a road safety audit conducted down here at 108 between Bennett and Terrace Drive. That's in direct response to a number of crashes, unfortunately 2 pedestrian crashes. No one was killed, but there is a clear history and need for an improvement there, and we're working on taking that information to develop some alternatives with DOT, Department of Transportation. I've been pulling to do what's called a demonstration project there, where instead of paying for the permanent expensive infrastructure with curbing and concrete and asphalt, you put down cones and paint and jersey barrier, or temporary materials, test out your design, get some data and feedback before you do the expensive permanent version. So we're working on looking at maybe some pedestrian refuge islands. If you've seen those, there's a median in the middle and very clear pedestrian crossings that provides a little bit of refuge for someone crossing that road. One of the alternatives is a small roundabout none of this is guaranteed or funded at this point. Those have to be worked out and tested with DOT. But we're looking at all the alternatives there, and I'd like to test one out. I think it'd be kind of a valuable way to show the cost benefit of roundabout's going to be more expensive, but if it slows traffic down and makes it easier for people to access that part of town, let's think about that and look at the data. One thing we worked on with the Public Transportation Committee was guidelines for the types of roads throughout town and recommendations for the configuration of those. So if you have, there are a number of examples from around the country. So they're different like tiers. So you'd have quiet roads, like a neighborhood. You want people going 20 or below on a place where kids are playing in the street, or they used to. Like when I grew up, I played in the street, but I wouldn't have my kid playing on the street I grew up on. Designing the road to meet the intended use. So the downtown corridor would have a specific design configuration, probably based on what it's like now. Having that as a resource for future roads or as development occurs. Continuing coordination with Coast and the many on-demand services that are related to them. Lots of opportunities to expand the local trail network. It's not easy, but there are really nice grant programs out there that come with far fewer strings than a DOT federally funded grant. And then there's always zoning and land use work that go hand in hand with transportation, where can we consolidate driveways, make it easier for people to access businesses without going out to the road and back, and separating people walking and biking from those driving, and whenever possible. Those are all possible and good benefits. I think that was all my slides. This is our contact information for myself and Mark. I'm happy to take, of course, happy to take questions now and bring them back with me.
Thank you, Colin, appreciate it. I think what we should be doing now, do you actually have the chapter that you can bring up on the screen? Because we'll go through page by page and give you our comments.
I have it on my
So there is a, there's a tab already open for it.
What was it? Oh, here we go.
Okay, page 1. Comments. Okay, any comments or questions for Colin as to going through each page here? Table of contents, everyone's good with that? Okay, page 2, the vision and executive summary. In part has our general comments from all the other chapters. However, they're going to have one person put all this together to eliminate the redundancy. Everyone good with the executive summary? Okay. The page 3, that's the general one going into each chapter. We can pass through that. Getting into specifics on vibrancy. If we could go to page 4, please. Any members have any comments on page 4?
Colin, if you, on the right-hand side, there's that, yeah, nope.
Just hit the X. Oh,
This guy?
no, nope, not that one. You're good. I
No,
think
but
you're
you
good,
got
right?
the little scroll bar
Yeah, there we go.
right there.
Yeah. Okay, any questions or comments on modifications to page 4? No, we'll move to page 5. Yes, go Jeff.
The traffic volume graphic.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like a layperson, I don't know the frequency of that volume.
I agree.
This one?
No, the one that's got the picture
Look
of
at the
Newmarket.
graph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, frequency of, is it like per day?
You're right, we need that. So we wrote it here but didn't
Yeah.
actually explain it. That's annualized annual daily
Yeah.
traffic, thank you.
So, yeah, the layperson will not know.
All right. And I hate acronyms, and I hate it when I forget to call them out.
And I apologize, I'm looking at our actual worksheet. Back on page 4, if you can scroll back to page 4 for a minute. You talk about electric micromobility. Is the goal to increase accommodation for these? I mean, it's kind of a general statement of this concept, but how does it relate to what we're looking for in the master plan? Are we looking to increase accommodation?
Our intent was not to directly say increase accommodation for micromobility, but to kind of acknowledge its existence and hopefully get out ahead of it before you're faced with a situation like in Durham, where it's exploded with the student population there, and micromobility, I have included e-bikes in that.
Yeah, so I think the comment is it just may be, if you think that this is something in our master plan that we need to be conscientious of and to be able to, or focus on in the next 10 years, that maybe the wording of that is more directed.
So just be a little clearer about not just mentioning it broadly, but saying Newmarket should do
Yeah,
X.
because I don't think the master plan should really be about, these are all the general concepts, and it's really, where are we going in the next 10 years, right? This chapter should be kind of the global overview, but why? And if that's important, because you're seeing it out of the communities, then I think that's what we need to recognize, and to be able to plan for that.
Yeah,
It-
I read that as saying we need this third lane. You
Yeah.
know, we
So
need
it's
And
a
if that's the
walking
case,
lane,
that's what it should say,
a
right?
micro-mobility lane and a car lane.
It does say we're gonna have to be careful for safety, more or less is what it's saying, but not a direct suggestion as to what to do, is what you're saying.
Right.
And then, why is there no, there's no comments in the vibrancy section as to how parking needs to be addressed to increase the vibrancy and use of the downtown? It seems like that has been that issue, which is perceived to be the biggest issue for transportation in town. Why is that not addressed under the vibrancy at all? It's like no comments about parking
I read
in
that
this section.
somewhere.
It's in here somewhere.
On this particular section.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
We are happy to add something. I think you're right, it is a piece in the puzzle in terms of human interaction. People are going to continue to want to drive downtown, so.
So do they have a place to park when they get to downtown? I'm sorry, I had Jeff's same comment on the map. Okay. Any other comments?
Just
on-
something quick,
Yeah.
again, just so I understand it. Pocket parks? Is that, like we have down here, off Dame Road, or,
It's like the one on the corner right by what used to be Johnny Boston's. That
okay,
Tiny park.
okay,
just kinda
pocket
stuck
parks,
in.
okay.
I consider.
Or the Arbor Park?
I
Yeah.
consider the one at street level near that kind of multi-level parking across from the post office, I believe that.
That's another one, that's the
almost
Arbor
parking
Park.
there. It's
Yeah,
a little bit bigger,
okay.
but
Yeah.
certainly
So that's
the
what
one
that
down
is,
near
okay.
Newmarket and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice example of a pocket park.
Val, so, under the vibrancy, the second paragraph up,
Did I miss it?
the last sentence is talking about the parking, that's where I had to find it. I think that maybe that needs to be expanded on.
Oh, yes.
What they talk about is that businesses are concerned, or people that could have business are concerned about the lack of parking.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I just kind
And we
of scanned over that.
we understand, well, we have more data on parking that I can incorporate in here with a little more specificity about where people are parking, where they're parking
Oh.
longer than the limit is, and kind of incorporate some of those, maybe even the direct recommendations that we're going to be coming up with.
Yeah, I think to your point, I think the reason I wrote my comment was because this was specific to the business,
Yeah.
as opposed to making downtown vibrant by being able to accommodate people who want to come into downtown.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if we're thinking of vibrancy that way and bringing people in, I don't know the frequency of use of a couple of charging stations that the town has But when like you go to Portsmouth and there's like pay charging stations all over the place. Is that initiated by the town, or is that initiated by the business approaching the town saying, hey, we want to install some pay charging in your town?
Well, yeah, I mean, charging can be as simple as a nice 3-prong plug on the outside for trickle charging. You can pay, you can just make that a free service. It doesn't charge very fast, but then businesses can just go to a vendor directly, or the town can get a grant from the state or pay for it full freight. The chargers themselves, the actual units, aren't that expensive. It's balancing the electricity and how you pay for it, and usually, if you're talking about like a charge point, there's a subscription fee that goes with the data, and they maintain it. And it's been a while since I've talked to them. I would chat with the folks in Durham about the break even, because the electricity rates are killer. So if the town is paying for the electricity, that can go well above what
Yeah,
you need
well,
to break even, it goes above.
That's what I was saying, like there's, the pay ones that are you're paying
Yep.
a private company, I believe, that owns the unit.
Usually.
Yeah, and just paying, so the user's paying for the
So
electricity.
are you wanting more information about that in this particular
Well, that's what I
page?
said, I don't know if that should be pushed by the town, or if that should happen at the, by a company approaching the town. You know what I mean? Like, I do think in the future it would be important to have more around town. And if the town doesn't want to invest the
Yeah.
money themselves, then to encourage a business to install some around town.
Dave, does the new federal building codes require charging stations depending on the size of the buildings? Or am I thinking, that might just be a Massachusetts?
That
building
might be a
code thing.
Mass thing. I don't think there's any federal regulations unless it's specific to a federal building. But
Okay.
the New Hampshire State Building Code
The
does not
national-
require it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'm wondering if what you're talking about is establishing a sort of policy almost for implementation of electric vehicle charging, whether that's so that the town is kind of out ahead and say, it's like, yes, we encourage EV charging installations in these locations or under these conditions. We want to incentivize that. Here's what needs to happen for that to be in the public interest.
Yeah, or does the town, like what you're saying, or does the town say, we're gonna install 5 somewhere
Well,
downtown?
I guess is the question for this
The question is, yeah, should-
for this chapter
should we-
is,
right.
if we have more, would more people come to town?
Exactly.
I think
Like,
that's-
I think that's what,
that's-
should a sentence be inserted, with expanded parking, additional EV charging should be encouraged, or some way of incorporating just a single sentence.
I guess if the data supports that if you have them, more people will come, right, into town.
That's-
As opposed to just providing an asset for people who live here to use the chargers in town.
Do we have any idea how many EV vehicles we have in town?
That's that was reported in the energy chapter.
Based on.
And they were supposed to follow up because the way they registered the vehicles,
Right.
Terry really had to dive into getting that data. So that's on the energy chapter. All right. Okay, I'm gonna push through this. On page 6, that is the various commuting origin destinations for connectivity. So we're assuming this is a 5-year change from 2017. You kind of have to read between the lines, correct? Because these are 2022 data.
I believe it's just 2022 data.
Well, you have a 5-year change, so it's a 5. So
Correct, yes.
it might be better to say change since 2017, so the
Yeah.
reader doesn't have to think about, well, what does this mean?
I would just put in parentheses 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to
Since
call that out.
2017, yeah.
So you don't have to do the math in terms of 5 years.
And are people good with having all these, these numbers? You want to cull it down to,
I think it's interesting to see the actual numbers.
Yeah, I do.
all right, so that stays, good. I think getting more into a comment you had earlier, Eric, under the paragraph that's on that last sentence before the next chart, says, survey respondents, put them in the following order. I think to Eric's point, how many people were surveyed?
Yep.
Right, talk about several officers of connectivity were presented in the 2024 master plan survey to be prioritized. You know, maybe include how many responded to make that relative. You know, or put the number of people that responded to these particular ones.
Has anybody, well, have you guys looked at some of these? I know these are what the survey said, but have anybody looked at these from a feasibility standpoint?
Well, don't you think that gets into implementation?
It does, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
I'd like to know the numbers, because connect the Rockingham Recreation Trail to downtown. If 3 people responded to that, is
Right.
that a priority for the
Well-
planning board or other, you know,
Correct.
entities in town? I think
Correct.
that's why the numbers are important.
No, I agree.
Because if it's huge numbers, then the feasibility becomes, is it something the town wants to fund?
Be a percentage
right.
of the total
Well,
respondents.
no, I'm saying more that something may not, no matter what, how much money the town has.
Oh,
may
it
not
just
be
doesn't
feasible.
work. So why put it in here?
Right.
That's it. But I
Like
would
the electric power at the bridge. That was our comment on the energy chapter.
Mm,
You know,
right.
why do we have it in the master plan over the next 10 years when we know it's not a feasible,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you know.
Right. And maybe I
action
don't
to
know
take.
something, but like number 4 here, totally off-road connection between Newmarket and Portsmouth.
Oh, that's already in the planning. There's a whole bike path, correct?
Out to Portsmouth,
Yeah,
that is,
there's a plan for it.
it's part of it, yeah, it's out there.
I was gonna ask about that, because it looks like it's following the railroad tracks.
Yeah, that's toughie.
It's an active one.
Are you jumping
Yeah.
ahead to a page, Jeff?
I think we already have one. You go get a kayak and you just stick it
Yeah,
in
there's
the
that
river.
too, right?
I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that, you're
All
right. I
right,
was thinking- I was
we
thinking
literally
trails.
have 20 minutes, we're,
Yeah, okay.
okay.
I would
And
just
I know I'm
ask-
talking, but I want to make sure everybody, whatever your comments were, that we convey them to Colin.
Yeah, super quick thing that I was gonna throw out was like, if you put the number of, it'd be good to have the total population of the town, if you put the total number of respondents. So that you can
That's a good idea.
extrapolate numbers out. Because you
Right.
can't say only 3 people responded, but if that's like 3% of the respondents and you expand it to like, try to extrapolate out the population, you'd be like, oh, well, that could be 300 people. It doesn't need to be in every statistic, if it was somewhere, I'm not sure.
Okay, page 7. Anyone have any comments for Colin on 7? Okay, page 8. I think this is where we get to that link.
Yeah, I won't get into that. That could be a long answer, we don't really have to touch it.
No, but do you want it in here? That's the,
Oh,
this is,
well-
what do we want in the master plan? What,
Yeah.
you know, what comments are we giving back to Colin as to this chapter? Is this important to leave in? Because my comment was, what does this mean?
My question of it is feasibility of it. If it's like not really possible, then why show it to people?
Right.
Right.
Like I'm not saying that CSX route to Portsmouth isn't possible, but I know it's an active line that they do use.
That means it's not possible. They're not gonna let
Are we
anybody.
talking about the bicycle
Right.
link graph?
Property.
Yeah, yeah.
So the future bicycle links, isn't this plan already adopted?
This part,
The bicycle, well, we have the existing one,
you mean an actual project in the current master plan?
not our master plan, the Seacoast Regional Bike
Oh,
Plan.
I believe it is. That it is, that I wouldn't put that at the same level as a master plan necessarily, since it's got to be within the town borders. But, so I guess part of me, I see it both ways in terms of the feasibility versus the vision. You know, if you want it to happen eventually, ever, and it's worth going after, it doesn't hurt to put it in something like this. I think, you know, making that connection to the Rockingham Trailhead is going to be a lot easier than a rails with trails along an active rail line that carries nuclear waste. few more hurdles, but
Yeah, a few more.
the connection to Portsmouth would be a huge thing
Yeah,
for
no, I
Newmarket.
agree.
And this is basically support regional improvements to public transit and community transportation. So you've chosen this particular graph. Is there a different graph that should go here, or any graph?
I mean, I guess I could see the benefit that if you got like 8 towns to put in there, it might carry more weight for someone at the state level to try to push it. I mean, I don't really know, I'm kind of asking. Like if this gets in front of 5 towns instead of just Newmarket's master plan, does that help it in the long run, like you're saying, in the future vision?
Yeah, if you're going for a DOT grant, and you can say all 5 towns have this in their master plan, and we can collectively verify that this is a project that is important to these communities, that carries a lot of weight.
Leave it?
Yeah, it
We're
doesn't
good?
hurt to leave it then, yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Everyone's good? Okay. Accessibility, page 9. Any comments there? My only one was that, but, no, I didn't have a comment on that.
Could you, I have a question on the, it's the first paragraph, 4th line down. It says, sadly, since 2012, 6 fatal crashes of any type have occurred in Newmarket. Those are just vehicle crashes, or vehicles hitting pedestrians, or a combination?
It's all of the above.
Okay.
I can go back, that language is awkward. So we just meant a fatality.
Sure.
So that includes vehicle and pedestrian. I can't confirm that there were pedestrian fatalities, but that's
Yeah,
what we
there
meant.
were.
It was just a fatality.
There was at least one.
Maybe just add that to the footnote,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
vehicle and pedestrian.
It's awkward language.
Okay. Page 10. My only comment on this was to move this all to an appendix,
The
Yeah,
big,
I would agree with
the big table thing?
the whole page, all of it.
Oh, okay, on the pedestrian level of traffic stress stuff?
Yeah,
And that project has
same with
wrapped
New
up,
Hampshire
so we can...
DOT. I mean, I think all of this should just, you're talking about Portsmouth, I think all of that can go in an appendix. You know, and I think maybe you could just reference the appendix and then talk about what you were looking to do in Newmarket, because you've got all this good information about the gateway on the following page.
And now we can include a map and some data to go with that as well.
Perfect.
Would that carry on to page 11 to move to the appendix?
No, I think some of this is
Just part of
specific to
it.
Newmarket, so
Yeah.
you'd want to keep it within the chapter,
Yeah, I guess it would just have
right?
to be
Because it's
rewritten.
talking about this, the complete street, and then,
I just meant the first paragraph on page 11, because it says Newmarket will be able to look to this effort in planning.
yeah, I just think he needs to rewrite the, you know,
Yeah. you can rehash
what it is,
some
and then put it all
references
in the
to that.
appendix.
Yeah. And I guess I might as well just update the language on page 11 about the parking study is anticipated, and just make sure we completed it in 2025 and just make that present tense.
I think the general comment there is, will it be completed prior to us actually adopting the chapter? Because if that's the case, should it just be incorporated in and have a placeholder in here?
The data have been collected and analyzed. The recommendations, I'm not sure if those will be formalized.
So we'll just have it
before.
as an appendix potentially, and just language in here?
That's easy enough,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's the best way.
Okay.
Because I think the plan is we're going through these workshops for each chapter,
Mhm.
but then we would be moving, we won't be voting on individual chapters. I think the idea is that once everything gets consolidated, then we'll have the public hearings for the master plan.
Yeah, the whole thing forward.
So we probably won't even be adopting the master plan until 2026.
Okay, well then, we will certainly have time to make, the parking study with recommendations will be complete by then, I'm very confident.
Okay.
I don't remember what how or by what committee those recommendations will be adopted formally, if that's just you guys or the transportation committee or
I would
whatnot.
think it's transportation, but, the master plan, is gonna be the recommendations of the transportation committee. Okay, 12? Any comments?
For me, is it possible to change that plan you have in there? The legend is, I'm partially colorblind, I have a hard time seeing what's what. We have sidewalks, major roads, local roads, the colors is there a way to make that so it's a little bit more, the colors are a little bit more separated so they're easy to see what's where?
Yep, I'm right, colorblind too, so it's kind of a running joke at the office. Oh, what do you see? You can look at this.
So do you have a recommendation?
Just to try to change the colors and make them
More different.
more separate.
Really
so they
separate
don't
it
look
out.
the same, different,
Okay.
yes.
All right, good.
Like, the red, blue, and
Okay,
green
we're
or
good
something.
with that.
Shades of
Anything
gray.
else on
Yes.
12? Okay. Moving to affordability, 13. Everyone's good at leaving all this in, okay? And then we go to the link on the desired public transit links. Did this come out of the survey?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe have some kind of footnote or comment under that? What was driving this? And 15 is another chart. Should that go in the appendix? It's data.
Yeah, I agree.
This one in the
Yeah.
appendix? Okay.
Okay.
And maybe replace it with a very short paragraph about the public transit options, or kind of mention it quickly and passing?
I think that would be fine.
Yeah. And then you could put it right up on the, integrate into page 13 when you're talking about all the different options.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Just have to understand what these are, like where you can go, I guess, with them too. I'm not saying we need like a schedule of all these places that they stop, but like C&J bus goes from somewhere to somewhere for $17 or more. I have no idea where.
Okay.
I don't know if that's, I know it's kind of like
I think
That's a
it-
good idea.
but
Yeah.
it's hard to tell like what actually has access from those. I mean, I don't know how you would incorporate it because there's so many.
Yeah. Well, if it's going in the appendix, it could be its own landscape table by
Right.
itself, and then we could say
Portland to Boston.
Yeah.
Portland to bus and,
Right.
Ready Rides is region-wide or something
Yeah.
like that, so.
That's a good suggestion,
That's a good
thank
idea,
you. Okay, page 16. Lots of questions in here, but nothing as to, like, are there parts of town where people could be cut off during a storm if part of the transportation network were to fail? Would it make more sense if the transportation committee has identified areas that then, as opposed to just a blanket statement?
We know there's areas from previous flooding events, areas that just
Right,
shut
so
off.
maybe that's more under the master plan, is to address these past areas that are
Graphic with in the appendix or something.
something.
Graphic or show.
So for instance, I put in this is more as what should be in the plan. Replacing underside culverts will improve road integrity and safety and build resilience into the local, road network. It's clearly a master plan type statement.
Yep.
So those were kind of my comments. Any other comments? Page 16. And then on 17, under the goals, it seemed that the last two were more, how do those relate to transportation as opposed to energy? or keep nature part of downtown experience? How does that,
We struggled with, is this energy or transportation, and EVs kind of bridge that gap, so we left these here for now. And, if you're increasing the ability for residents to purchase electric vehicles by making it easier for them to put in EV chargers, or like you said, attracting EV drivers to town with more electric, chargers, that's kind of where the number 4 came from, and then nature, just, that's a little fluffy of a statement, but nature is a big part of the downtown, and that came out in the survey responses, so we.
relative to transportation?
Well,
I think-
I could see resiliency being important, nature, I mean, shade trees are important, and along roadways, shade trees are important for people to walk along, so I don't know if that's where you're going.
That's where we were going.
Okay,
so-
that makes sense to me.
So,
But-
do we need to make that a little more explicit, like you were saying with shade trees, and the kind of living shoreline type of infrastructure, making, a wider culvert allows the stream to be more natural, and that makes the road more resilient, those sorts of things, like, did we just kind of not cover it in number 3 there?
I think it doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Yeah.
wonky, it's kind of a wonky statement.
It
I think
is.
it's,
Yeah,
needs to be clarified a little bit.
Yeah,
all right. So
yeah,
Package all that in one sentence.
all right. Can do.
7 words or less.
Yes.
I have to agree with number 4 when I first read that. We're talking about EVs and different modes of transportation and all of these things, but nowhere in the document, anywhere, does it say anything about fossil fuels until you get to that line. And that, it just doesn't, there's nothing to match it back
Right.
to, or doesn't, it stuck out to me as not fitting there.
So, meaning, would it fit more if fossil fuels was more directly referenced in the content elsewhere?
Potentially, but I don't think it's
They kinda like
necessary, I
sort of-
just,
I think that's covered in our energy chapter.
yeah.
Or what if instead you say focus on EVs and micro-transportation? That's a different way to say it, and that's what it talks about in the plan. Same meaning, right?
Yeah. So speak to those modes and then not have number 4 here, and kind of let it, seems like that kind of exists in the energy chapter. We knew we were kind of straddling awkwardly.
If it's awkward, take it out, right? We don't need 4 goals for each, of our 5 kind of, sections. Because with each of the goals, and there needs to be the action items, right? All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here. Did anyone have any comments as to the appendixes that are being included?
No, I'm good with it.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
I think just making sure under the graphs, people understand what, to Jeff's point before, maybe some information under the graphs. It's explaining those areas a little better.
Yeah, we need to make sure
Um,
that we're, like we pointed out, that is for Newmarket, that's ridership in Newmarket, make sure that's.
And then on the Downeaster graph, can you pull data that is either just Exeter or Durham, as opposed to total ridership for the Downeaster?
Yes.
think- That's likely more applicable.
Yes, and we can go down to the town level or just New Hampshire, so the Durham, Dover, and Exeter stops. But yeah.
Durham, Dover,
but-
Exeter.
Sorry.
I'm just thinking, if it's Exeter, it's likely if people from Newmarket are using the Downeaster, they'll go to Exeter or Durham,
Yeah.
unless they're going to Dover because that's where they can park.
Which
Do you want to see all
isn't
3?
I think we see all 3.
All
sure.
3, but I think it should be applicable to our local market.
what adding a stop will change for traffic in town.
I won't be alive when that station gets built.
It's a master
just a
plan. You
fair
have to think
warning.
of the next generation.
I was trying to remember when they stopped using it. Does anyone know that off the top of their head?
I don't.
That could be turn of the century stuff. Go in the dairy bar and you see the old list of the stops. It's like every
I don't know, my parents used it. They're only 90. Okay. Appendix C, you've got these transportation demographics. Everybody good with all of these? Interesting numbers. Again, 5-year change, so I would add that 2017 change.
Yeah.
And then the matrix will just figure out itself, right? I think the only one is on the EV charging. If it goes in, well, it could go multiple chapters, but you have that as accessibility and affordability. All right, now we're talking about ones. Okay, anything else for Colin? If anyone thinks of anything after the meeting, just send them the comments directly to Bart, and then he can funnel them. Good?
Is it possible in 2023 column to add on figure 5 in appendix C? The numbers?
Yep.
Like, because bikes probably isn't, it's 0%, but it might be 5 people. Kind of gives it gives
Oh,
an
yeah,
idea
it's
of
a
how
good
many
idea.
people are actually like on
Yeah.
the road on the bike.
That's a great idea.
Part's one.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
From the train
Is
station.
that part-time, or?
From the train station.
Well, we know one of them's Bart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got at least one.
Okay, anything else? Okay, great. Let's take like a 5-minute break, and then we'll start the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're on, okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting on Tuesday, August 12th. I'll now call the meeting to order at 7:04. If everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public here who would like to make a comment that is not related to any item on the agenda? Seeing none, I will close the public comments. Next item on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes of July 8th. Do I have a motion? Before I do that, Eric, I will appoint you to sit in for Zach, who is absent this evening. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 8th, 2025?
So moved.
Okay, second. Okay, any discussion, any comments, any changes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Before we get into agenda, the regular business for the site plan extension request, I failed to close the public comments on the 200 New Road design review hearing at the last meeting. So I would like someone to just make I would just like to close, just have this meeting minutes reflect that I've closed the public comments on 200 New Road design review hearing from the July 8th meeting. Okay, thank you. Next item on this regular business is the site plan extension request from the applicant Chapman Block LLC, requesting a 3-year extension to an approved site plan originally approved on August 15, 2021, which is proposing a 28 residential unit mixed-use building with 13,000 square feet of commercial space, together with a separate 4-unit residential unit building located on the real property with an address of 56 Exeter Road, tax map U4, lot 12, within the Village Corridor South zoning district. So the district has changed. We have the applicant with us this evening. I don't want to say an applicant, property owner,
Evening.
All right.
Mr. Cheney, you stole my thunder. I was going to roll all that out.
Had to read it into the record. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
So
Where have you
yes.
been? Where are you hoping to go?
We are here looking for the extension so that we can move forward with this. I've had kind of a slow year in getting my own act together and staying positive with this. We were able to, towards the end of last year and most of this year, secure a new group who are very exciting and are looking forward to making this project happen. Of that is my brother Lane, his daughter Mia, my sister Ann, who's not here tonight, but collectively we have created this new entity called the Chapman Block LLC with its sole purpose to make this project happen.
Can we bring the site plan up, Jeff? Or could you scroll up on that?
Plan?
Mr. Cheney, yeah. Slide it up. Okay, great. So it would probably be good to review the site plan as to what's been done to date.
Outside of removing the structures, there was 4 structures there. We removed 3 or 4 or 5 years ago now. That collectively were on 5 different lots. We have since, put all those lots together to be able to provide the square footage to create the building, the parking, the underground water storage, and so on. It is the site just after the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks run here as you're coming up out of town. We have not done anything other than that at this point. We have secured some older bids, like a year and a half ago, as to some numbers for clearing it, blasting it, that kind of thing, which were very scary, I must say. Costs extremely high. But no, we haven't done anything since collectively trying to eliminate the hazards of the building and make it as simple to move forward as we can once we get to being shovel ready.
So I think one of the premise on the extension granted the last time was relative to permits. Where are you at?
So we've renewed driveway permit. There is no over 100 square.
AOT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need the AOT permit because it's under that amount of square footage disturbed. We've,
What about the issue with the sidewalk location, the crossing location? I think, wasn't that?
the only thing that we've had to do, and this was based on the state had made us revise all this, remove these stairs, remove a small retaining wall, because they feel that all of that is a liability to them. They do not want the public to have access from this sidewalk up these set of stairs to this building, because if they trip on those set of stairs, they're going to sue them. So they made us remove some of the, we'll say, public-friendly improvements that we had made. Those will no longer be part of the project. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was when we approved it in 2021.
I think you guys removed the island too, right?
Well, we had removed this.
That's the
Yeah,
site plan.
that was, we had removed that earlier. We knew it was gonna come out for access here, but all the contractors were complaining about having to plow around it and.
So it's shown on this particular plan?
Shown on this.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I
this
can't see
site,
that in there. Sorry.
this site plan, just so we are clear on it, this site plan would be amended
Yes,
based upon removal of the stairway, of what we're seeing.
yes.
What was the corner section you referred to, another stairway?
There
or
used to
retaining
be a
wall?
small retaining wall here because of the grade between the concrete walkway / patio and the grade as you come across this sidewalk. It elevates in such a weird way. It was like a 1 foot or a 1.5 foot small retaining wall to make that grade transition work.
Okay, so that would be changed.
So that
And
would be
then,
changed.
to Jeff's point, that is the island showing on that plan?
This little island here,
Yeah.
yes.
And so that would be amended.
Yes, that would be removed. Yeah, the stairs, the showing of the small extension, retaining wall. This island, we removed that prior to repaving for the future access into this lot and for many other reasons.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Dave, on any of those items, on a site plan change?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, we're in, we're looking for, and, financial backing that it brings. We will move forward with, getting this thing executed and underway. I understand there's some potential zoning changes that will aid in, either making the commercial part of this a little bit more user-friendly to potential, clients or customers that might want to come in. So yeah, no, it's been a difficult thing being a one-man band, trying to come up with the financial wherewithal to get such a big project off the ground has been a challenge.
So that's been the hardship.
It's been a difficult thing. But we have overcome that today with the fact that we have created a new entity that should more than be capable of doing this.
So are you foreseeing that you'll come back before the board with an amended site plan?
Sure. As we know, this is, old in comparison to, I haven't gone to the extent of having it revised based on the state's issues. But yes, we can certainly come back with that and any other changes that we deem necessary in order to move forward, now that we got some new eyes that can shed some better light on some other problem areas, I guess.
Wally, are you looking at potentially making significant changes to it? Like, too early to tell?
Yeah, not at this stage. I mean, not at this stage.
Yeah, I would
Lane,
expect.
give you just your name.
I'm Lane Cheney, part owner of Chapman Block with my brother. My expectation is that we will be back in X amount of months, 2 months, 3 months, based on the new zoning is helpful and might be gets something that the numbers work better. But getting this extension is helpful for the financing and moving forward. I don't feel like we have a gun to our head on the timing, and it just keeps the value there that we can build on to, because developing the financing can affect how we design the building, and this would help with the financing if we have a lot that's approved and not just an empty lot. So I would expect we'll be back, but this will be helpful to get this for us and
So
get it going.
realistically, how many months do you need to have?
What's that again?
Realistically, how many months would you project that you would need to make that decision?
This is a tough game, pulling this stuff together. It's a big building, it's a big project. So, I mean, in a perfect world, probably 2 or 3 months realistically. In a perfect world even.
So Lane, though, 2 to 3 months would give you enough time to evaluate this project and see if you're going to make changes to it, see if there's a better alternative, right?
Yeah.
But if you spend 2 to 3 months looking at it and you determine that that is still the best alternative, you'll need more time then to get your ducks in a row and get started on it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know you need some time to look at it, right? But then
Yeah.
assuming that if you look at it and it changes and you're back before us, if it doesn't change, you still need to be able to procure that and get going on construction.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, a year, 18 months, a year long enough for you to decide that? And either pull the trigger or be back in front of us?
I think it's a different question.
Financing.
Months and months.
Right.
You're thinking, what I'm hearing is 2 to 3 months to kind of make a decision, either moving forward with this in securing financing, or after you've been able to really review the new zoning changes to determine whether or not you're coming before us with a new site plan or an amended site plan under the new zoning.
Yeah, it'll take a
Right.
couple months to.
Right.
Easily.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And if the decision is to move forward with this plan or a slightly amended plan based upon what you're presenting this evening, then the decision, at what point in time would you be able to start the implementation of this site plan?
You mean start construction?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or get to the point what would be considered active and substantial development.
Yeah, again, I would say, under ideal conditions, it would be next spring, so.
And then what's the build-out time, if you think about this
Oh,
project?
it's a solid year, I would think, for that.
So easily within a 2-year period, if you're moving forward with this particular plan, or a revised plan that you'd have before us, because you would know which way you'd go funding-wise, with a construction build-out of a 2-year period, would be able to we'd have a development that is active and substantially
Right.
complete.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question, the heart of it is, if we were to say 2 years, not 3 years.
Yep.
What kind of heartache does that cause you guys, or what kind of stress does that put you under?
The 2 years will be fine. I mean, if we get 12 months in and banks don't want to loan against something that has a deadline that's coming and makes them nervous. So yeah, I think 2 years would be fine. If we can't pull it together, we're 18 months from now, we'd come back in. But yeah, I think two years would
You'd be
make it
coming
work.
back in with a new plan.
Right.
They'd be under the new zoning plan.
Right. Anyway, I just wouldn't want to, my opinion is I wouldn't want to approve something that causes problems for it going forward.
Right.
So if 2 years is
Right.
enough, I'm certainly fine with 2 years.
Yeah. In,
And like I said, if in 18 months there's issues, you can always come back in and
Yeah.
have the same discussion again, right?
So how long to start? Because so that's 3.
well, I think in a 2 to 3 month period, what we're hearing, they'll make a
Yeah.
decision whether they're gonna move forward with this site plan that is approved. And then as far as vesting, this expires in October. Is that correct, I believe? Yeah, that would be the vesting.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this particular site plan expires in October, right? So giving I think that's just too close to say, 2 to 3 months, and then they're before us in October, right? So
Yeah.
appreciate you coming before us sooner. But within 2 to 3 months, I think they're gonna know which way they'll head, and then if they're heading in with a new site plan, we would get through that by, spring of 2026. And, because during that period, then they would be before us with a new site plan. Or I'm gonna call it amended site plan, because you would be able to
Right.
come before us under this plan.
Okay, that's what.
Right,
okay,
an
that's what
amended
the
site
extension's trying
plan.
to get to, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just
It
beginning.
would still
and
be
then-
public
yes.
hearings,
Yeah,
and
so
we'd,
it's-
it would,
Yeah.
I'm assuming the amendment would be because you would feel that it's financially better to be able to utilize the new zoning that we've just adopted, but you won't know that for a couple months till you go through that. Then that would just makes it a more viable project to then get started on, and then active and substantial development occurring over that 1-year build-out.
Yep.
Because even in this, if we grant the extension, we can put the conditions on, do we define active and substantial? So with under that. Or what are the conditions on the extension if they move forward with this site plan? Do we have to have it, confirmed that it meets the stormwater regs that were adopted after this plan? I did speak to the attorney about that, because that has to do with our municipal permit under the MS4. So I think that would be reasonable according to.
I would be surprised if it didn't meet the,
Yeah, I mean, you put a lot of
regulations, but-
work into that.
yeah,
So,
there was a lot of,
That would be,
back and
that would be
forth on that.
confirmed, right? So,
Right.
basis of fact to be able to move
Right.
forward.
right, yep.
So does that sound reasonable?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 years.
We're hoping the new zoning, that you look at that and say, yeah, maybe I should do something different. There's a lot of effort put into that. This is a great project. Everybody really, I think, hopefully I speak for the board. This is a major gateway. We really want to see this get redeveloped. And, with a good project. You put a lot of energy and effort into this and time. So, we obviously want to see that parcel get back onto the tax rolls where it should be. Do you have anything else for the board yet at this point? Okay, so with that, I'll open up for public comments. Is anyone here from the public who has any comments about granting of the extension as requested by the applicant, or what the board will vote on, or anything about the project? All good? Okay. So I'll close public comments at 7:25. Okay. So where's the board want to go? Or any?
I'll offer my opinion.
Okay.
I think we should support a 2-year extension. I certainly support a 2-year extension. I don't see any reason not to.
And any conditions?
I would just like, if this project, no, if it doesn't change, I don't have any conditions for that. If it changes, I'd want to look at the stormwater, but assuming it doesn't, at this point, we're assuming this is what's going to happen, so I'm good with just granting the extension.
I would agree that I support the 24-month extension with condition to relook at the stormwater, make sure that it complies with the new stormwater.
So you didn't make a motion, you're just commenting, right?
I just commented.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just
All
saying
right.
that.
And where does the board, because that would be a condition, where does the board, having, and that was in Bart's email as well. Third-party confirmation that the approved stormwater management plan meets the current stormwater management regulations that were adopted the year after this. Are you wanting to see that or not?
No. When you said third party, it got my attention because I would be fine with a letter from the design engineer saying.
Or an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The design
yes.
engineer just saying, this meets, like we've looked at it, this meets your stormwater requirements, sure.
The town engineer will review that too, probably, or does it have to?
She
Well,
could. She could. Typically they don't, but she could.
No, because usually it would be Underwood would be retained at
Okay.
the cost to the applicant for a review. And you're fine, Eric, with whoever, would you still be using the same engineer? I don't know who stamped that.
It was,
For
it's
stormwater.
Horizons now, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Horizon.
Okay. But you're good with that, just confirmation?
Yep. Yeah. I'd be amazed if it didn't, because it had to meet the, we spent a lot of time on stormwater during the review of this. Because there were some funky things, if I remember right.
Jeff? I mean, where's the rest of the board sit on it?
I mean, I'm okay with that as long as the engineer is like, sends a letter certifying that they feel that it meets it.
Yeah.
I agree with Jeff.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Any other comments on that?
I'm more comfortable with 2 years instead of 3.
Okay. All right.
I do have one question.
Yes.
So say you get the
Oh,
letter.
you just shut yourself off.
Oh, I did? Oh, usually have it off. And then turn on when I want to talk.
There we go.
All right, thank you. So say we get the letter back from their engineer saying it doesn't meet stormwater regs. What then?
Well, I would think that if it says it doesn't meet, then they'd explain why. And then I think we could make a decision based on that.
If they come back, if they decide to
We could grant
amend,
them
or we
waivers
would.
or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, I had assumed we would, the idea is to require them to meet it, I would assume, or grant waivers for specific conditions.
Right.
Yeah, and under the statute, as far as granting extensions, that is one of the primary reasons as far as a condition to grant. For public health and under the MS4, that's all about, our obligation as a community to adhere to the MS4 permit. So, and then we adopted the new stormwater regs as a result of that.
And if I remember right, we gave a waiver for significantly reduced parking, right? To help to that, to help
Right. Yeah.
towards that end.
All right, so I think everyone's comfortable with just design review engineering letter, saying that it's in compliance with the current stormwater regulations. If it's not, then you would probably come before us, if you're not gonna bring it to the compliance, you'd come before us, with a request for a waiver and reasons why. But at that point, you're probably gonna be into it which way you go. And an amended plan, if you're really redesigning, would be under the new stormwater management regs. I think the other thing to consider here, so that we don't keep doing extensions after extensions, is what, in the original 2021 approval, we did not put any thresholds on what is defined as active and substantial development. I would like to see, as far as the granting of the extension, that we do set what those expectations and thresholds are, so the applicant is also understands that. And again, that would be for this site plan. Are we looking to have, like in the past, on the past two large projects that we permitted, Railroad Street and the Elderly, it was the completion within the 2-year period of the exterior of the buildings and the site work. I don't know if that's where we want to go with this one, or to something. But there currently is no definition.
That might be difficult to
There's no
achieve.
threshold.
Have you
So-
gone up the buildings?
Yeah, that's fine. I just think that there should be an expectation, that we're not back here in 2 years and nothing has been done.
So, the letter we got from our lawyer,
Yeah.
that said, conditions are fine if it's public health, welfare, or environment. If it is one of those concerns, a condition would be fine. I'm not so sure that by defining, I understand where you're going with it, with the need for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that fits in that vein.
Yeah, I actually spoke, with the attorney yesterday about this exact, question, because the letter from the attorney was not the actual questions that we were asking answers for.
Mhm.
It was just how do you handle vesting as to a request for an extension? So the attorney never addressed that, because he wasn't asked. So that's the reason I'm raising it. And I'm fine, however the board wants to go, but we, again, 4 years ago, we weren't being specific as to thresholds, and we're being very conscientious now about setting those for vesting.
Well, I would throw out then I think Jeff said it as, kind of an alternative, is that the 4-unit building smaller building be done weather tight or whatever however we ever want to define it. I think that's reasonable to do, that won't take that long, if this is the plan you build.
It's not phased, right? I mean, it's just.
It's not a phase.
It's not phased.
No,
It's
that's why I
similar.
wanna just
You
kinda-
probably would build the one out back before the one up. It's like, I don't know.
Does that make sense to
I
you?
don't know how you guys would.
Probably not.
Do it. Yeah, you might build the.
You wouldn't
parking-
build the 4-unit first.
Yeah, you build a bigger one.
What if the site was
What-
done binder grade?
Yeah, that's just,
All the utilities underground, binder, that's... Having a
That
whole
works for
building
me.
built, shell anyway, this size, when it's already gonna take probably a year to go through the process of evaluating the existing permits, finding the funding, and maybe changing things based on zoning or whatever.
I'm sorry, Walt, can you, speak at the mic? Thank you, sorry.
It could be difficult to have a structure that size, weather tight. I think it'd be more realistic. You could have at least the underground utilities in place and the site to bind a grade,
It's a build-ready lot.
So,
The board good with that?
Foundation.
I'm fine with that.
The foundation being rather?
Well, I mean, just to repeat, you're talking a 1-year build out from spring 2026. Yeah,
Build out for that building in 1 year. I think that's a challenge.
Or a little longer than that. They'll have it till August of 2027.
well, that's what they'll have, I'm just commenting on what the applicant stated. Right, if they were starting spring 2026, it was a 1-year build out
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll be
prior to,
completed
yeah.
before August of 2027.
Correct.
I'm fine with what Wally said. We've shown that they're working on it, moving forward.
Yeah, but, I mean, and that's the reason to set the threshold, so that everyone is on the same page as to what the expectation is.
And if things go south, I'd rather not have a half-built building.
Correct.
I mean, you know,
And the other thing to
right?
keep in
You
mind-
want it either,
Yes.
right? I
Okay.
mean,
All right.
But would you have your binder coat all down before your foundation?
Well, I mean.
Bind a grade, not the pavement, bind a
Bind a
grade.
grade.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The
Dave?
other thing to keep in mind too with building permits, once they submit a building permit, they have 6 months to start, 2 years to complete. Just so that you guys are aware. So
Okay,
that means
good to
that,
know.
yeah, so if I issue that building permit, if they don't start work within 6 months, that building permit expires. But if they start work in that 6 months, they have to complete it within 2 years, or else that building permit expires.
That 6 months is part of the 2 years.
It is, yeah.
yeah. So if they wait 6 months, they got 18 months to build the building.
It's 2
Yeah,
years from
yeah,
when they
if
pull
they
the
pull it
permit.
today and they wait 6 months and start, then they have 18 months from when they start to when they have to
Okay.
finish. Yeah.
All right,
I'm fine with binder grade,
okay.
and I'm fine with that.
Everyone good on that?
Sounds reasonable to me.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant a 2-year extension, subject to a letter from the from the engineer relative to stormwater, and with the vesting being, the site is brought up to binder grade.
Is there a second?
Subgrade, right? Not binder.
Not the pavement,
Binder grade.
binder grade,
yeah.
right.
So that's, all the utilities are in, that stormwater system is all in, correct? Because
Yeah.
that's all done at that point. Okay. Any, is there a second on that motion?
Seconded.
Jeff, thank you.
Frank?
Well,
Eric?
discussion on the motion?
Is Eric appointed?
I did at the very
Okay,
beginning of the
all right,
meeting.
sorry, I missed
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure.
No, appreciate that. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No one saying, thank you very much. And
Thank you. Good luck.
good luck, yes. Okay. Any committee reports? Jeff?
I
Concom?
was away last month and did not attend. So I do not have a report.
Jane has,
Nothing.
nothing, thank you. Nothing on CIP yet? That must just be starting?
Not yet.
Okay. Scott?
Yeah, we haven't had a
TC?
town council meeting either in summer.
Okay, so your next meeting is the 20th?
Next week, I think. Or the week after, must be next week.
Okay, and?
I don't have a committee thing, but I appeared a few weeks ago in front
Oh,
of
thank
the
you.
Charter Commission.
Yes.
About a lot of things, but one of them was.
Excuse me, Lane?
They
Lane, excuse me.
Yes.
Can we take the conversation outside? Thank you. Okay.
The point of me going with the discussion relative to whether the planning board should be appointed by the town administrator or remain as an elected board, I told them that my personal opinion, I wasn't speaking on behalf of the board, was that I think it should remain elected to have complete autonomy. We don't have trouble getting people. So I don't see that as a problem. And then we talked about the CIP and other things that really, how the CIP operates, and it's difficult because the CIP is, it's hard to plan long range. People who are trying to get enough money to do their day-to-day operations, and it's hard to plan to put money aside, but they're looking at how they can better hold people accountable for things not getting done. Oh, that's really not the right way to say it, but trying to look at, if our plan is, our goal is to do this, and every year it never gets done, then somebody should answer to that, so.
And just on that topic, I did send a letter to,
That was read,
okay, appreciate that.
it was read in the meeting.
And then, because there was also some discussion when people were, some of the members were calling, were reaching out to myself, as to the master plan relative to the charter commission. And it was like, well, the master plan's the planning board, so I'm not really sure. The charter commission, is my understanding under the statute, is about how the municipality will be governed. So I think there was some, hopefully, clarity through the letter I drafted over that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the discussion was around how they would, the Charter Commission is trying to figure out how to make the master plan more a document that gets paid attention to. Because it doesn't get paid attention to. So if you have a list of items to be done, and they never get done, and it's in the master plan, what's the point?
Yeah, so, I mean, is it part of the town governance that the planning
Yes.
board and the town council meet once a year? And is that meeting relative to here within the master plan, are the priority identified under the master plan? What are the priorities, and who's responsible, and what has happened?
Right, and I think the way it probably will need to go is the council has to set their goals for the year, right? And, excuse me, sometimes that's relative to the master plan, sometimes there's other issues, but, the master plan, and then following up to see what happened during that year.
So
The
hopefully
Charter
that
Commission
will
would
get-
really like the Budget Committee and the CIP Committee to have some clout. And that's most of the discussion going on at the Charter Commission is about that.
Makes sense.
And it gets down to this thing of short-term versus long-term. I think there's a broad consensus that the planning board will stay elected. I didn't hear any opposition to that at all.
Why would did they entertain changing it? Because it's there.
It
Well, some towns are appointed.
was asked,
Yeah. I was specifically asked to comment
Is
on
there a
appointed
reason?
versus.
well, so, I don't know how long ago it was, a year ago, 2 years ago, I was specifically asked by Steve whether I supported the planning board being appointed versus elected. And at the time, I hadn't really thought of it. I said, I really don't have a problem with it being appointed, but then as I thought about it, and I've seen some instances in other towns where it's turned into a problem, I think it's better off being elected still.
That's why I was curious, why that
Yeah.
was kind of a question in the first place.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
there was
Oh,
a-
it was a question.
somebody brought it up to change it.
Steve doesn't say this directly, but he's always referencing that he wants it appointed.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I like it elected, personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elected is
I
better.
think everyone else is happy with that.
So in any event, Charter Commission's doing a lot of work, and great work, and appreciate, all the time and effort that's getting put into that, because that window's is coming up, right?
Yeah.
We're the final one on that.
I think also to add, you mentioned the CIP. The amount of work that the administration puts into it, so the chief of police, fire, they do an outstanding job. And the board does an outstanding, and I will stress thorough job in understanding the values and the benefits to the community in doing that. And we'll make recommendations, and that's what they are, is recommendations. So to empower them, I think makes a lot of sense. Right now, we're not really empowered, we're basically overridden.
Yeah, almost everyone on the Charter Commission is people who were, almost all of them were town councilors on multiple roles, right? And they all felt that the CIP was kind of a useless, that they would do all this and then nothing would come.
Yeah, I would say the effort could be perceived as useless because we're overridden.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most polite way I can say it. But the commitment to the committee, from the committee to the effort is extremely high, and the dedication to it is extremely high.
Yeah, that's changed over the years. 15 years ago, you would have a hard time getting any of the department heads to give you any numbers as part of the CIP. It just wasn't a priority. I think Steve has made it more a priority to get numbers, but then you still, it funnels down to other people making decisions.
And other people may not be the ones who are really delving into the numbers.
Right.
I think is
Correct.
kind of more where the commission was going.
Correct.
And having the club.
At the end of the day,
Budget
the
committee.
budget committee gets a shopping list of stuff people want.
Right.
They have to try to decide through conversations and meetings, what's the really important stuff. So
Yeah.
that makes it hard to do planning
Right.
for 10 or 15 years out, because the department heads need to, I think I made the case that they're like a football coach. You can't draft kids that are not gonna play this year and lose your job next year. You gotta keep your job, right? So they need to keep the departments going, right? That's job number one, is keep it going and serving the town, but then they need to try to plan ahead, and that's difficult. I mean, you know what it's like, all that. Every time somebody wants something new in town, here we go again, here we go again.
But I think.
Well, that wouldn't be the case with the CIP.
No,
They're
no,
really
no.
planning.
No, I'm talking about
Yeah.
general public.
If CIP is empowered, they can do a great job.
Yeah, well, that's what everyone thinks, yeah.
No, they're just not empowered.
Anything else on that? Nothing?
Sorry.
Got any planning issues coming before your office?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Any good variances this year
Yeah.
lately?
Yeah, there's one.
No, well, 200 New Road, but that's,
They did design review. last
yeah,
week.
yeah. But that was the last, I mean, we've had a couple of dimensional variances, but nothing.
Nothing significant.
No.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I will, sorry?
Is the 200 New Road, just flipping through the minutes, I saw a wetland impact, does that one go to I didn't look at the thresholds and what's impacted, does that one go to Concom for review?
But nothing, there's been no application for
Oh, I didn't
200
even
New
know what
Road.
stage it was, sorry.
Oh, no, that was a design review hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They plan on filling wetlands, so that would certainly go to Concom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I didn't know what stage it was at.
Yeah,
so-
no, that was a design review.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Art. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, everyone enjoy the rest.